What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Learn English with Carlos Crazy. Yeah, that's me. Today, I had the great pleasure to be with Miss Clinch. Miss Clinch is a Spanish teacher, and she accepted to be in this interview. I'm going to ask her some questions, and yeah, Miss Clinch, thank you so much for being here today.
It's a pleasure.
Let's just start with the first question. Can you tell us a little bit about you?
I was born many years ago in England, and my parents moved to the United States in the 1950s because England was in bad shape after the war. There was no jobs, etc., because of all the bombing. And we moved to the third world country of South Carolina. And the choice was Lebanon or South Carolina. My dad picked South Carolina because of cotton.
Mm-hmm. Cotton.
And he was in textiles.
Mm-hmm.
And so we moved here when I was 5, and then I was sent to school in England when I was 10 for a good education, so to speak. And I was there, for about till 9th grade. And then 9th grade I came back to the United States.
Oh, okay.
And I am a Spanish teacher, but when I became a Spanish teacher, I had not learned Spanish at all.
Oh.
And I got the job to teach history. And then the principal, the day before school started, say, "Oh, Miss Clinch, there's been a change." I said, "What do you mean?" All the Spanish teachers quit. And you had more Spanish than anybody else. I said, "That was 20 years ago." And they said, "Oh, you'll do fine. You've got Spanish 1, Spanish 2, and Spanish 3. I said, "I don't know Spanish." "But you just went to Mexico for 3 weeks. So you can teach it." And so I had to teach it to myself. And all my Hispanic friends were laughing.
But guess what? Her Spanish is really good. She communicates with me in Spanish. We do that, we practice. And honestly, I'm a native Spanish speaker, and I can tell you, she speaks really good, pronunciation is on point, so nothing to worry about.
And now you should know too that this is the first time I have taught Spanish since 2005. And I've picked it right back up. It's doing much better this semester than last semester. And I have traveled a lot in my life. When I became a teacher, I decided that I wanted to travel. So sometimes during the summer, I would go different places. And I've traveled a lot. I can't tell you all the places I've been. There's too many.
Okay, before we get to that question, let me ask you this. Which one do you call home? England or United States?
The United States. And that being because the avenues for me to live in England, like my sister, she lives in London, just never opened. This is where it opened. And so I content myself with going to visit. Visiting is fun because everybody treats you real good.
And how often do you go visit her?
Well, up until COVID, I went every year, usually at Christmas. And a little quick trip. And she lives on the outskirts of London and is a musician, and that's why she's there. Now I haven't been since COVID.
Okay, Miss Clinch. Now going back to the traveling thing, how many countries or places have you visited in your life?
I don't know.
You say many, a lot.
A lot.
Okay. Tell us a little bit about those places you have been to, at least the most relevant ones.
The most relevant. Most relevant. I was very impressed with the Vatican in Rome, where the Pope lives. And it is absolutely amazing. It is so large. The altar itself inside the Vatican is 7 stories high. Mm-hmm. And 7 stories high is just like, this place is so big. I walked all the way around to the top. And it goes around and around and around and around. It's crazy.
Okay, any other place that you
The other
wanna
place,
tell us about?
New Zealand.
New Zealand?
New Zealand, on the South Island, I went to visit my relatives because I didn't realize that in the 50s, a lot of people immigrated to different countries because of England being in bad shape. And my relatives went to New Zealand. They also went to Australia, and the British government gave them free passage
Ooh, nice.
to get there. And they've been there ever since. I mean, and they had a better life. It's totally different than England, totally. I mean, yes, they have a different accent both places. And New Zealand is amazing. The kangaroos, the first time I saw a kangaroo, I was like, what? Because when he stood up, he was twice the size of me.
Lord.
And I was like, oh dear, is that a kangaroo? Yes. I was like, oh my gosh.
I think I saw one. I saw one once, and it was in Columbia, South Carolina. I went to a zoo, and it's amazing.
Well, they
a
have
lot of animals
they have
there.
little jerrys, which are small kangaroos, but they also have these ones that are 7 foot when they stand up.
Jeez.
They're like, oh my gosh, and they jump. And in Australia, they leave space for the animals to get through. And in New Zealand, I drove to the South Island, and they have a glacier. And this glacier is way up, it's all ice and stuff. I took a helicopter up to the top. It's the summertime, and we were wearing shorts, and we had snow up to our knees. And the river was full of ice. It was really interesting. I was like, what? Here it is summertime, and we are in the snow. And so had pictures done with that. And so I would say those two places have really affected me. I also been to China, and I taught U.S. history in China.
Wow.
So those are just a few places of the ones I've been. Europe, I've been to most. I have not been to Africa, or I haven't.
And what about here in Latin America?
In Latin America, I have been to every country in Central America.
Okay.
And except Belize. I haven't been there.
Okay.
Several times I've been. But I haven't made it to South America. And that's my goal. That's my
please,
next.
visit Colombia.
I will.
You're not going to regret it.
I know. I can't wait.
Okay. Ms. Clinch, I have one question for you. Another question. What is that one thing you regret about your life or anything like that, and you wish to turn back the time?
I don't know.
Okay.
I really don't know.
Okay, let's move on to the next one. What is that one thing you don't like about teaching?
Well, some of the students nowadays have a really different kind of attitude than when I grew up. And they speak back, and they don't realize that they don't have the rules and regulations that we had when we grew up. And in the Spanish-speaking countries that I've been to, they have rules and regulations, more or less.
That's true.
And it doesn't matter, poor or wealthy, they have rules. And yes sir, no sir, that sort of thing. And I find that the hardest, because I'm not used to it, and I don't put up with it.
Okay, Ms. Clinch, the bell just rang, so I know you gotta teach right now. What is that advice you wanna give to those English or Spanish learners?
That you can do it. I did it, Spanish, without anybody. So you can do English. It takes time. It doesn't happen overnight. You're going to make mistakes. It's okay. Making mistakes is fine. And I really love teaching Spanish, because Spanish, I can teach anything.
That's
I
true.
can teach cooking. I can teach how to clean your shoes, how to set the table, which makes it fun. Unlike history, you're kind of regimented. And I did history, American history, for 20 years. It takes a Brit to teach U.S. history.
Yeah, that's true. Ms. Clinch, thank you so much
You're welcome.
for that interview. And yeah, She already said it. You can make it. That's all for
Yep.
today. Learn English with Carlos Crazy. See you when I see you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.